Hey there, it's Catherine from Moonstarlodge in Central Ontario. We work with Indigenous spirituality, art, and education, and I've worked with the tarot for nearly 50 years. I do a weekly tarot reading, which comes out on Sundays at noon on YouTube, and during the week I pop onto Instagram for a midweek and weekend reading. Please, if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the like button. And for those of you who've been around a long time, you know that I'm pretty conscious of the length of these videos, but I'm in a weird mood today. And it's a lot of the changing energies as we approach both Valentine's and the full moon of Wisdom Keeper. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to speak to the fact that this week includes both Valentine's Day and the full moon of Wisdom Keeper. And so I've got a totally different spread of cards than normal. I have the medicine wheel, but I've added 2 cards specifically for Valentine's Day. So where we are here on the medicine wheel, the second moon cycle is here. We're pretty much dead center of the top of this wheel. We're actually because this year was almost 2 weeks later starting, we're actually a little farther past that, but in a perfect year we're right dead center of this medicine wheel. And so it's the north, this being winter solstice, this being spring equinox. We've passed Imbolc, so we know that the winter is in its declining phase. But I'm pretty sure I didn't share with you the concepts of Wisdom Keeper, and I want to bring that home today because the message of the cards, I always lay out the cards ahead of time because it's a very complex spread. And with the rheumatoid arthritis, it's very difficult for me, and you'll see that the cards I'm using this week are really awkward cards. So Wisdom Keeper is the protectress of sacred traditions, the keeper of the stone libraries and earth history, because the stone people imprint the records of everything and everyone and everything that's happened on the earth in the stone people. She is the guardian of the quote, the remembering and the art of memory, the mother of friendship, planetary unity, and mutual understanding. She teaches us the arts of self-development and expansion, how to access planetary memory, personal recall, and ancient wisdom and knowledge, how to understand the wisdom that every life form holds and its missions, how to be a friend and to restore friendship by honoring the viewpoints of all life forms. She teaches us how to honor the truth. Now we're having a weird puppy moment. I don't know if she needs to be let out, but whatever. So, as I say, I don't know how long this is going to take because this weird energy that I'm feeling has to do with the earth waking up. I'm very sensitive to it. I'm going through some medical issues right now that make me hypersensitive to it. And we just did or officiated a wedding yesterday. It's not even been 24 hours. And the energies of that help to coalesce for me and help me amplify what's going on. So I asked Spirit to give me an uprights only reading. I don't normally do that because I was trained in upright meanings. And I've also pulled 2 special cards just for Valentine's Day, which is Monday. So let's go to the cards, Brian. So this is the medicine wheel, believe it or not, and the 2 extra cards I pulled for Valentine's Day are here. I'm going to read them and pull them out of the spread. I just pulled them for the purposes of being able to speak specifically. I never do this, but I'm doing it this time because Spirit asked. So the 2 cards pulled are from heart-shaped decks, and you can imagine how difficult it is to shuffle heart-shaped decks. But the first card I pulled, apropos to Valentine's, is the appearance of what looks to be a lover's card. But I'm going to read you the description. Within each of us there is a masculine and feminine aspect. And in order to have perfect harmony, these 2 aspects should be equally balanced. When our masculine, positive, and judgmental side is equally balanced with our feminine, negative, and compassionate side, then we are in perfect alignment with our true nature. To achieve this balance, we must embrace, love, and value both the positive and negative sides of our nature. And the author also intends by positive and negative to think of it like the polar ends of a battery, the plus and the minus. They need each other for flow. And we need all of ourselves together, looking at the parts that are out there and conscious in ego, and the parts of us that are not, that are subconscious. The companion card for this, from a different deck, is the 10 of Cups. It's a completion cycle and a new beginning. It's the loving connection of family and celebration, and the delight in having it all come together in a place of harmony. So how beautiful these cards are. But they're not specifically part of the larger reading, so I'm going to pull them to the side, and I'm going to bring together in cohesiveness this medicine wheel as it was intended to be laid out. So just for clarification, this is a bit of a dog's breakfast in terms of the cards. It might seem that way, at least. It really isn't. So these 4 cards are from the Naked Heart Tarot. What better kind of card to talk about the open and rawness and the vulnerability, not just of Valentine's Day, but I think of Turtle Mother waking up, and she is waking up. The sap will start to run very soon. There's vibration as the earth begins to thaw, and the sun continues to be out for longer. It may not feel like this on this particular weekend. It's quite cold. But please rest assured that the earth is revolving in the way that it does and has for millennia. So the earth and the energies of it are waking up. It can make us restless and feel crappy if we don't roll with this. So I've used the Naked Heart to say, crack your heart wide open. The heart has to be cracked wide open to release grief, to be vulnerable, to express the compassion, not just for ourselves, but for humanity. We're going through some stressful times right now, and it's nearing the end of the pandemic. So these 4 cards are the actual tarot cards for the medicine wheel. So east, south, west, and north. Their clarifiers are here from the Antiquities of Magic, and that's the same author who created these cards to be clarifiers. The 3 in the middle are the classic ones I use from Judith Pintar's deck. And then we have cards I haven't really used before. The Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams, the companion deck to the medicine cards. I've used the smaller versions of these cards in the past. I'm using the Shaman's Dream, as I often do, to represent the shaman. And I'm using the Black Moon cards. And these represent the planetary light beings who are part of our inclusive web. So, the Sacred Path cards are helping us to delineate what it is we need to do in terms of ritual, and the totem animals are here. So it's a very complete spread this week. So let's start as we do in the East. And what I thought quite curious was we had an ace and a 2 and a 3, and the first card past the Fool, which is numbered 0, of the major arcana. So we start with the Ace of Pentacles, and Pentacles represent Earth, and Earth represents, the Pentacles represent also goddesses, and we are starting, apparently, says Spirit, on a new adventure in this earthly dimension. So Pentacles represent the earth walk, our life, our finances, our home, our security, anything we do business-wise, but it's a new venture. And we've got the feather to clarify it, saying that we have angelic support. Angelic support, and feathers represent, like the quill of a pen. It's communication from Spirit. So we have support from our angels, but we need to connect with them. Please never walk alone in one single day without invoking and giving permission to your angels. And that's one thing people forget. Angels do not have free will. They are there. They can't do divine intervention every day. That's for rare life-saving opportunities. In fact, it is our obligation as creatures with free will to invoke them, invite them into our day, and give them permission. So give your angels, guides, and teachers permission to assist you on this new venture that Spirit says is being created as spring is moving to manifest. In the South position, we have the Two of Swords. That's often seen as a woman kneeling on a beach, blindfolded with 2 swords. It can represent an unwillingness to hear, an unwillingness to make a decision. But in this instance, I'm using a less common meaning for this card, which is to move forward anchored in the trust that you're not being bombarded by other people. You're working basically on blind faith. And faith is an important thing, because one of the cards that came up today relates to faith. So you are also in companionship with Dog. Dog is the unconditional love card, that companionship that may come from a totem, but this is the animal in its spirit form. So know that, again, at a very higher activated spiritual level, higher functioning, there are spirit guardians who are walking with you with the faith and unconditional love. Not necessarily angels. Angels are their own specific co-created being. These could be ancestors. This can be the Creator itself. But know that Spirit guides you, and I am being told to say there could be somebody on this earth plane that walks with you unconditionally, supporting your faith to move forward. The next card here is the Three of Wands, which is the activating fire of moving forward on this new journey. The Ace of Wands, or the fire element, is interestingly about a new venture. The 2 is typically looking at it and wondering if you should take it, but the 3 is you've made the steps forward, you're moving forward. And it's interesting, the Antiquities card that clarifies this is fire. And so fire is the element of transmuting something to change. So if it's a thought, you're transmuting it into action. So this is a beautifully clarified card here. And what caps the week is the Magician. Again, the Magician has this triangular element here. I find that interesting. The magician is you, and the other term for the magician is the magus. And you are moving with all the elements. You've got your wand, you've got your sword, you've got your cup, you've got your pentacle, and you are doing an alchemy. You are creating magically, but from age-old ways of manifesting. The snail here is purposely, it's a purpose-driven clarifier. The snail works, it plods along, it's protected in its shell, but it's still inching forward and making progress. So you're making progress, you're not rushing. So know that this is a very methodical, very well thought out, very well protected journey. What do the ancestors have to say? Well, this card here is about infancy, young adulthood, and maturity. It is the here and now card of transformation. It can represent an individual growing, the growth within a person as we do from childhood through our teen years into adulthood and maturity. It can also represent a family. But in this instance, that's telling me that it's the individual maturing and the transformation in the here and now. Know that any thought, any seed for this particular process that's being offered to us starts very small and expands and matures. So the seed, so to speak, the seed thought that's been planted this week will mature as time goes on. And sometimes it's not very quick. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not necessarily going to mature all in this week, although this reading is about this week from the 14th to the 20th of February. It may take much longer for this new venture to mature into something. It could encompass your whole life. Now, this is another interesting card. This is Transcendence, moving beyond. So we have the tree that's been cut down. It's still there. It still has its roots anchored. Whether it blossoms, suckers, and tries to continue to grow is not the point. It's that light is being given sustenance to a new growth. This growth is being given the light. It's the moving on of generations. It's the thought that whatever you're creating transcends you as an individual. And what is one of the most beautiful cards in this deck is the All That Is, the Creator, and the North. So this tells me that the north of the wheel, which is our spiritual part of the wheel, where we are right now, it may take a whole year at least, but this is the All That Is, and this is the hand reaching and manifesting with the ancestors, the star people. So this so far, the wisdom of this reading bears no warning. I asked for upright cards. I got upright cards. I didn't even have to change the position of any of them. So that's the wheel itself. So what other ancestral and spirit support do we have? Our shaman are asking us, actually I pulled this card first. Let me deal with it first. Heart, hope, compassion. Well, the compassion that we have for the planet, the compassion that we have for others, the compassion that we have for the troubles that are happening right now in our world, it has to start from our own heart. We have to have compassion for ourselves. So this is starting with me, it starts with you, it starts with each and every person here. We cannot have compassion for others without compassion for self. If we don't do self-care, we burn out, and therefore we are of no good value in terms of supporting the earth or the people or the animals or the plants or anything on it. So start with the compassion for self, and that relates really very well to this card I pulled earlier, representing what looked like a couple, but it's talking about the balanced self and having compassion, and this heart card as well. How we do that is we are going to take a deep dive. So this is a person making a deep dive. The deep diver is diving into a task. So what's our task? Consciousness is our task. All of this leads to conscious movement forward with a task, doing it methodically, and taking a deep dive without being impinged upon or not taking into account other people's opinions or judgments of what this task is. So that's beautiful, wonderful wisdom from the shaman. The totems who are working with us this week are Crow. Crow reminds us that it's perfectly fine to see the glittery things. Sometimes if we are feeling down and out, we don't see the glitter and the beauty in the smallest of things. We are meant to collect the beauty in the smallest of things. Crow and Raven, the corvids, are the call to the shaman as well. So while we are looking at the small shiny things, we are remembering what's big and shiny in our soul, and that our connection to Source allows us to transmute and transcend, which is very much what these cards are telling us. The other card here is Spider. Not everybody likes Spider, but the spider in this case is Grandmother Spider, and she weaves the web that connects us all. In the old stories, she's like a spinner with a spinning wheel, and she touches her threads to the crown chakras of each and everything on the earth, every stone, every rock, every animal, every person, reminding us that what I do on my side of the web, what vibe I put out, impacts everything. It vibrates and literally goes right through that web. So this whole concept of compassion and the whole concept of taking a deep dive, remembering as these wild energies come up that we are connected with everything, and it's our choice and responsibility to be high vibing. The two Sacred Path cards, Fire Medicine. This is passion and spontaneity. Allow yourself to work methodically, but not at such a slow pace that you're second guessing yourself. Here's this fire element again. So work with the passion that will just by sheer happenstance will rise within you when you are in a balanced state. And do a ritual of joy. It's the hour of power, and I would connect that very much with Wisdom Keeper on Wednesday. So it's the weekend, it's this reading is going up on Sunday at noon, so that you have time to prepare your rituals of love for Monday and your rituals of power for the full moon on Wednesday. The final two cards in this reading relate to the planetary influences. So we have Jupiter, another fiery card giving us abundance, and the card representing the ninth house, and the ninth house is faith. Here's faith. Here's faith. Here's faith and hope. You can flip the camera. So I warned you this would be a weird and wild ride, and I hope if you're hanging in there with me, that you will write in the comments the word compassion, and that lets me know that you've made it to the end. And I really wish everybody could feel the wildness of the energy that I'm experiencing. And I experience this every spring as we get closer and closer to Valentine's It's like somebody's flipped the switch in the hydro station of my inner selfhood. And it escalates for me as I get closer. It's just another 2 weeks after that until my birthday. And then it's another couple of weeks after that, and it's spring equinox. So I feel the escalation of the energies, and I pray that you all do too, because it gives us hope and it gives us a sense of renewal, and that's what spring is all about. So I thank you, Miigwech, Niawen, Aho, for joining me for this reading. Blessings.